Well, welcome back to SMFC TV, and having had no fixture played over the weekend, we don't have a post-match wrap for you, but we do have a segment with a different flavour this time. John Cairo, good to see you as always.
Lovely to see you too, David. Yes, it was a shame that we didn't have a game on the weekend, but as you know at South, it's always filled with drama every single week, and we always have something to talk about on the show.
That we certainly do, and this week, I think more than any week so far this season, we do have big news. Of course, there has been nationwide football media coverage. South Melbourne confirmed during the week that it has made a bid for the A-League, and it's continuing to pursue its interest in playing in the A-League. John, I believe you caught up with one of the key power brokers from South over the weekend at the Family Day?
I certainly did, David. I caught up with Tom Callis, one of the board members at South Melbourne and one of the key people in behind South Melbourne's bid to take over the Melbourne Heart, I should say, and acquire their A-League licence. So obviously Tom covered a lot of issues that would be concerning for the South Melbourne fans, and it was very interesting to hear him talk about the whole thing. Tom, the news has broken this week about South making a pitch for the A-League, inclusion into the A-League by taking over Melbourne Heart. What's the background to this? How long have you been working on this?
Well, the whole board, in fact. Our main aim is obviously for our club to play at the highest level in Australia. The A-League is the highest level in Australia. And we feel predominantly in Melbourne, we need a very strong second team, in effect. And there's a tipping point, ultimately, and we need to galvanise and move in that direction not only for the benefit of our club and our members, which we all represent, but for the benefit of football as well. And we feel we're the best placed entity to take that on. And as you all know, now that we have formally put a bid in for the Hearts licence, they've obviously rejected it at the price point that we put forward, which is our valuation on that licence. We asked for 100% of that licence, obviously, as well. And obviously talks have stalled for the time being, but we're pretty confident these things aren't going to stop here. And as you can see from a lot of the media that's gone on in Melbourne and around Australia post that announcement, there's a lot of support nationally for us to be back at the top league. We provide state-of-the-art facilities, as you can see here at Lakeside, youth programs. Our multimedia team is, we think, and most people have agreed with us, that it's probably the best in the country. And as football people, we're excited to say that our board has secured potentially one of the greatest names in football as an Emerson for our senior coaching role. We've already secured exceptionally strong financial backing from sponsors for that entity as well. And it's an exciting time. But these things take time, obviously. Our members and our supporters have waited for an inordinate amount of time, but that's given us plenty of time to get organised. We finished our transformation program, which we started 4 years ago last October. And the benefits, I think, are now being seen. But look, the thing is, we're looking for a licence to operate the top league. Now, whether it's a licence that gets brought into Melbourne via another city, that's not up to us to decide, obviously. It's up to the FFA to decide. But we want to play the top league, whether it's a licence from a club within the Melbourne precinct, great. Outside that, great. But we need to make sure that we're organised and ready to go when we think something will hit.
A lot of people outside will be and South supporters will be questioning where would that leave South in its current state if it was to acquire an A-League licence. Will the club be playing in the VPL or the NPL as we know it from next season?
No, certainly we have planned for that occurrence as well. Like, we will have a senior team in the A-League playing in the summer. We'll have a senior team playing, of course, in the NPL in the winter, and obviously all the youth teams that sit underneath that senior team in the winter as well, which is the new construct for the National Premier League. It will be a club that will have 12-month access to football all year round. Basically, we've got the infrastructure for that. We've got the facilities to host that as well. So we're quite confident we can actually manage that occurrence.
Well, John, a great interview there, and I think some wonderful content, really. I think some wonderful news. I'm going to be completely honest. You and I have been around this club for a long time. For me personally, you brought me to this football club, 13 or 14 years ago now, John.
Very true, yeah.
And John, from the day you brought me here, I've become a very, very passionate fan. And frankly, I think it's huge news, and I think it's very important for South Melbourne that we do continue to go forward. And I know you think the same.
Couldn't agree more, David. Firstly, it's fantastic that the club has ambition to pursue this. I know that they've had previous talks about it in the past since we dropped out of the old NSL, and a lot of people would have laughed in our faces for that. But now the fact that it's getting mainstream media coverage, and the fact that if you read a lot of forums, a lot of people are actually who may have been opposed to us coming in for whatever reason, are now slowly turning their their minds to it, and basically saying that they wouldn't mind having us in the top flight is fantastic. I mean, we're not privy to all the details, but we're pretty close, and I think it's wonderful and really where we deserve to be.
John, you talked about the fate the club nearly suffered a few years ago. Let's not beat around the bush. The club almost died in 2004. We were basically at death's door. The club just managed to stabilise over the next couple of years, had some initial success in the VPL, and we thought we'd survived at least for a while. We hit a couple more brick walls along the way, and it looked again like we were just trying to find a way to survive year to year. Yet here we are. It's, 8 years on now, 9 years on since the NSL disbanded, and we still have a relevance, we still have a place in Australian football. I think it's hugely important that South Melbourne become part of the national football landscape again. We've been such a massive part of the past. We've at times complained that doesn't get recognised. I think that is starting to be recognised now, and I think South Melbourne is re-emerging as somebody who has a big presence in national football in this country.
We've always generated rivalries, including a friendly against Melbourne Victory a few years ago where there was no publicity for it, and we still got 7,000 people here. So obviously we still had some relevance then, and obviously due to having seen all the mainstream media coverage during the past week, we have a lot of significance now. So it's fantastic. And one thing Tom also talked about, which I am rapt about, is the fact that we're not going all into the A-League, so to speak. If we do get the license, we are going to have a team playing in the NPL or the VPL, whatever the new league is. We're going to have a team playing there, so we'll have South playing all year round, which is further good news. And hopefully will make us a powerhouse both in Victoria and hopefully, if we get the A-League license, back in Australia again, and we get a 5th championship.
We would love to see that. John, we currently put Oceania Club of the Century on our badge. I'd like to see us add one more underneath. It would read, "The rumours of our death have been greatly exaggerated." South Melbourne has been left for dead by many in the past, even by some of its own, now sadly we should say former fans. But what I think we should point out is that South Melbourne still has a massive following. We still get good numbers on game day. Not everyone week to week. We have to admit the VPL doesn't attract huge crowds, but we have enormous interest through social media, through fans that still follow us even if they don't get there every week. Are you confident, as I certainly am, these fans would be back in force if we were to re-enter the A-League?
Yes, without a doubt, David. And I think the thing is with us, comparing us to, say, a Melbourne Victory. Melbourne Victory, you have to give them credit. They managed to attract big crowds, 40,000 plus for grand finals. With us, I think with our boutique stadium, I think we are smart enough to realise that we're not going to maybe get those 50,000 people unless we play them in a derby game. But in week to week, I'm very confident we could get 10,000 here. And 10,000 at this stadium, like it was at the old Bob Janes Stadium, it rocks here when there's that sort of crowd, and that would be us. And I mean, with the facilities and the social club that's coming ahead, and also the futsal court, etc., the club financially is going to be very well off and won't need to have big crowds to break even like some of these A-League clubs. Having said that, I mean, obviously crowds are important, but the main thing is the club survives no matter what. It doesn't matter if one person comes or 100,000 people come, the club still ticks on. It's just wonderful news, and I really hope we can cross that finishing line very soon.
John, you've said it beautifully. I'm only going to add one more, and that's to the guys and girls, the families, the mums, the dads, everyone who's still on the terraces week in, week out watching our VPL. We know a lot of them because we see them every week. They're passionate. They haven't let the club die in their hearts, and they're the ones who are making sure that we're still here now and that we're still a force in Australian football. And we'll leave it there for a moment with a reminder that at South Melbourne, good things are happening.